Hello people, welcome back to the Don't Have channel. So in our last video we looked at how we can get and then also add items to our database, right? So in a quick review on what we did, right? So we made a request, right? So we check whether the request is a get request or a post request, right? So if it's a get request, then we are going to tap into our subject model dot find, and then when we find the subject, now we can populate it to the client side, right? And then we also handle some errors here, and then here too we considered it when the post is a post request. So if it's a post request, then we are going to grab the body of the request, right? And then we structure it here, subject name and level, and then created our objects, then we saved it inside our model, right? That is, before we save it, we check whether the name already exists, because we decided not to duplicate some of the things, right? So if you don't want to duplicate items in your database, then you can check before you save, right? So after we are done checking, if we find the subject, then we will just tell the client that, oh, the subject name already exists. If it doesn't exist, then we can go ahead and save it. All right, I've not forgotten, I gave you an assignment, right? Not really an assignment, try work, whatever it is. I ask you to try and then delete an item for us, right? But before we continue, I want us to check to see if everything is working. So now get request. Okay, that's what the mistake I made, right? Subject, and I was mentioning Papa. He's a really cool guy, so I actually thought we are creating the students, so don't worry. But then what we are doing, okay, so we created an IT subject here and then the science, so it's pretty cool, right? Then we also, let's try and make a post request and see. So if you make a post request, it says ICT already exists, right? Let me change it. I don't know whether you are doing RMG, religious and moral education, right? So let me send it. All right, so everything is working, right? So let's head over to our browser, right? I'm using Chrome, so Chrome, and then let's read some documentation on Mongoose. All right, so Mongoose has the queries, and I'm at the query section, so you can head over to mongoose.com/docs/queries.html, right? I will leave the link to below, don't worry. So here we can use the delete menu, right? And then you can use everything, right? All the things here you can read through and then get the one that suits what you want to achieve by the end of it. Okay, so but then I'm going to test with the model, the first one, model dot delete many, just to delete many. Like right now we are seeing Papa inside, right? We want to delete Papa, right? We want to delete Papa, and also we want to find one and delete. We want to delete a particular item, right? So let's say we want to delete ICT. You can just use the delete, find one and delete, right? And then we also have find by ID and delete. So it means the difference between find one and then find by ID is the find one, you are just going to find by the name of the field. Not particularly the name, let's say the fields, right? One of the names of the fields, right? That's what I mean. So we can delete, find one, we can delete by ID. Yes, we can delete, but then that one we look at it, don't worry. And then we can delete by level, we can delete by subject name, right? But then the find by ID, we can only delete by the ID, right? So the parameter we are going to pass in is supposed to be an ID parameter, right? Yeah. But then find one and delete, that one, any field you specifies and pass in the right parameter, it will fetch it and delete it for you, right? This one and then this one, the main difference between them and then the delete menu is, as the name implies, the delete menu will delete every field that corresponds to the parameter we pass through, right? So it's going to delete everything, and we are going to use that to clear Fafa from our system, right? And then actually I don't know if you use Fafa. Okay, I use Fafa because he's his best friend, right? Yeah. And then I also want us to look at Okay, we'll look at update and stuff later on, right? So let's for now we are just deleting, right? Let's go and clear Papa from it. All right, so in our index file, if you have this index, this is not what we are talking about. We are talking about the index inside the subject folder, right? Under the APIs. So under the APIs, we have a subject, and under the subject folder, we have index folder, right? Yeah, so now we are going to delete. So before we delete, you have to check whether the method is delete method, right? Yeah, so let me quickly start with that one. So here, so else if, right? Oh, if the method equals delete, right? If it equals delete, then you just want to send a message to the client that you can delete. As I said earlier of this model, is I like testing whilst coding, right? Because it will be quite painful when coding, writing thousands of lines, you realize that something is actually not working, or even if it's working, not as in how you want it to work, right? So I always encourage my friends, my colleagues, and you as well to test alongside coding, right? So let's just say rest or send, right? And then let's give it a message that you made a delete request. So you made a delete request, right? And let's save it. So now let's go and make a delete request. So we are still inside our subject folder, right? So we are working under our subject folder, and as I said earlier on, is whenever we use index inside the folder, then our URL should just point to that folder, not /index, right? It's only when we give it a different name, right? If we give it, let's say subject.js, then that one we have to, after pointing to subject folder, we have to also point to subject.js, right? So let's try something. So let's make a delete request. For now, don't worry about the body, right? So we are making a delete request. All right, so we got the message. It says you made a delete request, right? So it means our route is actually working, right? So now let's do the logics, what we want to do. Now we want to extract. For now, it's up to us to determine how we want to the project should behave, right? So we can just pass in a subject name and delete by the subject name. We can pass in the level and delete by the level, right? It depends on us. And then later on, we also look at how we can pass in by an ID or using a parameter. All right, yeah, you can do that too. So you just take the parameter and delete by one or something, right? I'll show you that when we are dealing with dynamic routing. All right, so now I want us to just delete by subject name, right? And okay, so let me clear this. Okay, so now you grab this field, right? This field name, so subject name, and then let's destructure it here. So const subject name equals request, all right, request body, request dot body, right? So after getting it, you have to check whether it exists or not, and then now we can do whatever you want. But then I want to show you a different way, which is actually much simpler, because the delete doesn't actually gives any error when it doesn't find the item, right? It's only when maybe there's an internal error or something, right? Even if the item doesn't exist, it will check through. If it doesn't exist, then it's done, right? But then we want to find out if it exists or not, right? So in order for you not to get confused, let's hold it, right? Sorry guys, I had a call from Plug Office. I ordered some sneakers, so they bought it. Yeah, so you can check their page out on IG. I'll leave the link down below too if you want to order anything, being its fashions and stuff. So you can just link up, they'll get it for you. So let's continue. So now we tap into our subject model, and here I want us to check a couple of functions Mongoose gives to us. We have find by ID, but then we want to use find one. We have find one and delete, and we also have find one and remove. Yeah, I want us to know the difference between the two, because basically they actually do the same thing, but then they have slight difference, right? So when we hover over this one, it says create find. So this is the name of the function. It's a query, automatically finds the given document, deletes and return the document as it was before deletion, right? So that is the main function of the delete one. Let's look at find one and remove. Okay, so it's loading. Wait. Okay, so it says automatically finds the given document and deletes it, right? So you can see the difference. Find one and remove actually just deletes it and then that's all. But then find one and delete, that one deletes it and then also gives back the document that it has been deleted. It gives it back to us after deletion, right? Yeah, so I think we'll go in for that one, right? So find one and delete, right? So here we are going to pass in the field we want to make the query based on, right? So it's based on the subject name, right? So we pass in curly braces and then we pass in the subject name, right? And just copy and paste. Let's go to the subject and make sure it's just name, right? So this field is supposed to be name. All right, so we are telling it to query through and then delete the name or the document with the name subject name, right, which we are going to pass through later, right? So after deletion we are going to have an error or found or deleted item. Let me use that, deleted item, right? All right, so if it's able to delete successfully, we are going to get this item back, which is the item that has been deleted, right? So let's check if there is no error. If there is no error, then we can now res.send. But then I want us to first give a status code, right? So we are going to use 210, right, which means the post the person made has created or has made a difference in the documents you have now, right? So now we can send the deleted item back to the client. So now I want us to cross our fingers on it. So let's go to our API. We are in a delete session, so let's make a post. Alright, so we've been able to delete, right? We are getting back the field that has been deleted, right? I want us to get all the subjects. So get, and let's check. So inside our get subject. Okay, so we still have, I want us to delete Fafa. Fafa is not a subject, right? So let's copy Fafa here. We actually don't need the level, right? We just need the subject name because that is what we are using as a point of reference. So I want us to delete, oops, not patch, delete. So let's delete Fafa. Okay, let's try again. Okay. You see, now we are not getting anything. It means there is no Fafa inside again, right? We are not getting anything. It means there is no Fafa inside again. Let's cross check if we can. Alright, so we now have ICT and then science, right? So we've been able to delete a document successfully, right? Congratulations. So we've been able to delete. Yeah, I think we've done a great job, right? Yeah, some people have been wondering, what about patch or puts? Don't worry, we'll handle all of them. We are trying to just create a simple school management system, right? So don't worry, we have a lot of things to cover, a lot of things to do. As we are going on, I will let you practice and also be engaged, right? Be engaged. So then I think we are done with the release session. Okay, so I would like to end the video here, yeah, and start a new session so that we can get everything, not everything at a time, piece by piece. We learn by piece, right? So please practice on it. One thing is, actually, when you watch videos like this, you code along, you might think you are actually doing the right thing. Yeah, indeed, you are doing the right thing, but then you might feel like, oh, I know it now or something. But then when you start doing it on your own, there you realize that, oh, what, I've forgotten this. Then you go and check. That's how we learn. We don't just code alongside and then when we are done, that's all. No. After coding alongside, when we are done, you code on your own without watching the video. When you get stuck somewhere, then you now reference to the video, right? So in order not to miss the rest of the videos, please hit on the notification if you haven't, and then join the community by clicking on the subscribe button if you haven't. So thank you very much. See you next.